I get kind of like go into a bit of a dream world when I'm making
really
custard
smells
sometimes.
phenomenal.
Yeah, well, this alone, just the stirring is kind of therapeutic.
It is, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Welcome back to Kicking It Keto.
If you're new here, we're two besties sharing keto lifestyle hacks and recipes.
Today we have a really special guest for you.
So welcome to Be the Low Carb Girl.
Hello.
Hi V, welcome to Kicking It Keto.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so awesome to finally meet you.
Yes.
Like, this is one of the wonderful things I think about the keto community is making friends through social media.
Yes, and it felt like we already knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you're stressed and you like custard and sweet things,
This
This
is
is
the
the
recipe
thing.
for when you need some zen.
yes.
So I wanted to ask you, how did you get into low carb?
So I was extremely unhealthy lifestyle when I was still practicing law. I freely admit that because really long hours behind the
stress.
desk. I put on an incredible amount of weight. I'm only 1.5 meters tall, so at 87 kilos, problematic. PCOS, pre-diabetic. And at the same time, I was saying to Kim, I had been researching changing my dog's diet to a raw food diet because they were also suffering with showing signs of obesity, chronic medication,
Inflammation.
and yes, terrible. And so I saw this parallel between what was happening with their diets and what was happening with our diets. And if I looked at the checklist for how to become diabetic, I was hitting every single box.
Yeah.
And a few more that I
Yeah.
probably created myself because I
I
had
think
a
most people are.
Well, that's the thing
without
though,
realizing
and
it.
the problem is that especially when you're working long hours and stuff. I mean,
Yes.
I remember in our old corporate job, you work such long hours.
Convenience
You eat a lot of convenience
Yes.
foods, and if you just go and check those labels, I mean, the biggest scam is advertising stuff as, oh, it's only so many calories, because you then think, okay, well, it's lower
chemicals,
calories, so it's fine.
Oils and sugar and
Yes.
everything that's still in
Exactly,
there.
but it's like 100 different ingredients, none of which are natural. But you don't have the time, or you just don't have the education about what's good or bad for your body. And
And I think that's what I hate about that constant narrative that's being pushed about calorie deficit is all that matters. We all know that calories count, but the quality of those calories is far more
100%.
the most
100%.
important. Yes.
So, and it's always amazed me the way food markets itself, where you get people to focus on counting calories and no one looks at the ingredient list.
Exactly.
And that was exactly
That's
the
the
position.
lie that was sold.
Yes, so that's how I ended up at a point where I knew if I didn't make a change, things were going to get pretty disastrous.
Yeah.
And I just went straight into, I started with banting, followed the banting group on Facebook, really great resource, Tim Noakes Foundation information, a few other great doctors online, and here we are, haven't looked back.
That's amazing. So what made you decide to start doing like the keto meals and that for people?
It was born of a need, really. I'm a big flavors, spice, and seasoning kind of person, and when I started, things have changed a lot in just the last few years. But when I first started, there was literally one shop in Durban North, I think, that had keto low carb food.
it used to be very difficult to source.
Very
stuff.
hard to source it, and it was nice food that I suppose would be okay, but it wasn't flavorful enough for me to keep wanting to eat it, and I knew that was going to be a problem because then I'm starting to crave things.
But even with that, to be honest, it's also trying to find stuff that's made with clean keto ingredients.
Yes,
because
100%.
so often you get stuff where it's marketed as keto. I mean, I know there's like these syrups that I've seen that are marketed as keto, but if you look at the ingredients, they're using sucralose
Or sorbitol.
or sorbitol or maltitol, which
exactly.
at the end of the day, if you're
This
doing
is a healthy
keto
lifestyle. We don't want that.
for the health, then you're not benefiting from eating that stuff anyway.
Exactly, and that's how I learned to read ingredients lists to begin with, because
So
so many
important.
things were coming out saying they were these healthy versions of food, and they actually weren't.
They jump on the
And
bandwagon.
The only way you're ever going to know 100% that the thing is good for you and made with all ingredients is if you make it yourself.
And I think that's why I love your recipes and all of the treats and stuff that you make, because it's all clean, natural ingredients.
Yes. My whole philosophy behind the cooking, aside from eating very good things all the time, because I'm extremely greedy for good food, is
Us too.
Yeah, definitely.
and I like feeling full. I don't like feeling hungry. But for me, the philosophy is the fewest ingredients, easiest recipe, something that people will want to actually go back in the kitchen and make again and find it convenient.
And I think that's one of the things as well, is like a lot of times when you start out on like this journey, whether it's low carb, Banting, keto, you kind of like overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things that makes this lifestyle sustainable is exactly that, finding recipes that are your go-tos, that you can have. You know, it's made up of stuff like this, for example, is made up of stuff that you're constantly going to have in a keto pantry. So it makes it so much easier. Instead of reaching for those off-the-shelf snacks, you know, you can just whip up custard in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you know?
or making the fancy keto dessert that has 50 expensive ingredients in it. That's the kind of stuff that puts people off buying.
100%.
They feel like this is going to be so much more expensive than their current lifestyle, when in actual fact you can save money doing it.
It's coming together very nicely.
It smells amazing. Can my gran take a break now? Granny, you can take a break. At ease, soldier. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Maybe in a little bit, but you can just ask mom to swap with you. Tell her to put a scarf on.